another video. So today, I thought we would discuss our relationships with the gods, right? So, as heathens, we have a habit of associating with one god more than another. So, if you are new to heathenry, if you've been in heathenry for years, it doesn't matter. We all seem to associate with one god more than the rest of them. I know this because I do the same thing. It's your main deity, it's your main god, it's your primary that you rely on more than the rest. And there's nothing wrong with that. Never let anyone tell you there's something wrong with that. Everyone practices differently. Some of us do our best to allow practice and worship of all the gods as evenly as we can. Some of us don't. I try to give the gods their due, all of them, but I have my specific god. And that's Odin, hands down. I'm always wanting to learn. I'm always trying to acquire knowledge. I have people come to me for advice, for understanding, or just, to listen. And there's wisdom in that. I am by far not the wisest person in the world. I make stupid decisions just like everybody else. But Odin is my primary god. He is the one that I offer to and practice for more than the others. Do I want to be like Odin? Not really, because Odin was, in all fairness, a piece of shit. He didn't care about anyone else. He was full of himself. He wasn't a good husband. He wasn't a good father. I don't want to be like Odin, but I focus my practice and attention on Odin, mostly. That's not to say that when there's a good thunderstorm, good lightning and thunderstorm, I don't offer and give praise to Thor for bringing rain, or when I've had a good laugh with friends and family, I praise Loki because he does provide that for us. He provides us with laughter and entertainment. But just like many heathens, I focus on one in particular. Now, I explained the reason why I focus primarily on Odin. That's fine. That's okay. What everyone else needs to understand is that just because I focus primarily on Odin doesn't mean I respect the other gods less. Because there is a lot of that. There's a lot of, oh, well, you don't care about the other gods. You're not true heathen. Now, I've gotten that. I've gotten a lot of that in my life. I've gotten a lot of, oh, so, you're not a real heathen because you don't practice truly for all the gods. Well, I don't practice truly for all the gods. I don't practice thoroughly for all the gods. And that's the way I practice. Those are the Puritan heathens. Okay? But why do we? The ones of us who do focus on a particular god more than the others, why do we do that? Why do we put our attention more towards one? I think it has a lot to do with our personality styles. How we perceive the world, right? I have heathen friends that either were or are in the military. And with them, it's usually one of two of the gods. It's usually either Thor for strength or Tyr because he's the god of war. That is a mindset in its own. That's a personality in its own. Being military is a whole different viewpoint, it's a whole different perspective on the world. I do not know. I have never been in the military. Never been shot at, never had to shoot at anyone. And I honestly hope to keep it that way. But I do want to say this, for the soldiers that have either been in the military or are on active duty, thank you. Thank you. You are fighting for freedoms that I, myself, do not have the courage to fight for. Like that. Now, I know that not all of us, especially the newer heathens, understand fully all the gods. I myself, I know them all. But I don't. A lot of our history and a lot of our literature, our text, the runes and stuff have been lost over the years. So we are still learning and still are trying to find everything about our faith. That's fine. That's great. We need to do that. But I know that what I do know is that each god is representing something in particular, right? Like a lot of women, not all. There are a lot of female heathens, though, that do focus a lot of their practice on Frigga. Or Frigg. She's the maternity goddess. She's the goddess of motherhood, of fertility. I've had friends that I've had female friends that wanted to get pregnant. So they offered constantly to Frigg for that, for fertility, to be able to conceive a child. I don't know them personally, but I know of heathens that they love to sail. They love to go out on boats, or even ones that just canoe on the river. They offer a lot more towards Njord because he's the god of seafarers and wind. So they want a favorable wind. They want a safe journey on the water. So they offer to Njord more often than they offer to any other gods. It's all the personality. It's all a mindset. It's all what makes... It's all on how you perceive the world. I perceive the world as it's a book. It's an infinite amount of knowledge. Some that has been attained, some that has not been attained. I know there are things in this world that have yet to be discovered. The world is a book. It's a book to learn and to read, to understand. My life's pursuit is acquiring knowledge and passing knowledge on. Sharing what I know with people. So that's why I focus on Odin. Now, Now, this is where it gets tricky, okay? If you are a bodybuilder, let's say, a heathen bodybuilder, there are many of them out there. Chances are you're gonna focus more on Thor. Chances are. Now, what people miss in their interpretation of Thor is that it's just physical strength that he represents. But it's not. The strength that you derive from Thor can be mentally, it can be emotionally, not just physically. It can be the strength of will to do things that you don't want to do, but you know they have to be done. Those hard decisions that we all face in life. Thor can provide the strength necessary, the emotional and mental strength to accomplish those, to do what needs to be done. As where, and I'm probably going to get flack for this, but as where Odin cannot. Because Odin, his mindset is and always will be singular. It's, how does this benefit me? Thor is the protector of Midgard. He looks out for our entire realm, right? Odin doesn't. That's where they're different. I mean, you don't lean on Odin for strength, you lean on Odin for wisdom. And you don't lean on Thor for wisdom, you lean on Thor for strength. I mean, you can, but it's like, if I have to make a tough decision, first, I would lean on Odin for the wisdom of the choice. Meaning, if I were to have to make a choice that affected a lot of people, I would need the wisdom to make the correct choice, right? After I had found the wisdom and come to the decision on what the best choice would be, I would lean on Thor for the strength of will to do it, to accomplish it. That's the difference. It's like Skadi. She's the goddess of winter and goddess of the hunt. Okay? Now, if I was a hunter, which I'm not, but if I was a hunter, I would offer and lean on Skadi for a good hunt. That's the physical aspect of it. But you would also offer to Skadi for a mild winter, for survival. That's as much physical as it is mental. We all offer and focus towards a singular God more than others because of what they represent, because of how we relate to them. When I write my books, when I'm working on a book, there are ways to write a book. I know I talk about my books a lot. One, I want you to buy them. Two, they're good examples. So, when I write a book, I offer to Odin for the wisdom and the knowledge to write it a specific way. Because when you write a book, you don't want to put the word very in there much. It's just not good literature. You don't want to say very much or very pretty, things like that. You want to change the word. You want to have the knowledge to change the word from very to, say, if it's very much, it is a large quantity. Or very pretty would mean beautiful or gorgeous, ravishing even. That is the knowledge necessary to write good literature. But when you are writing a story that is entirely made up, that it is a fiction story, you would need to offer to Loki for creativity, for humor. If you're going to put humor in there, you want to use the gods as much as they use you, because whether they want to admit it or not, as heathens we are very greedy people. We're a greedy culture because we like the spoils of things. We like treasure. Well, treasure's not always in the form of gold or silver, right? It's a good amount of knowledge is a treasure. A success in whatever it is a treasure, right? So as a greedy culture, we take from the gods. We take the things we need from the gods. Now, most of them are a spiritual uplifting, kind of like an epiphany. You offer and you pray to Loki for creativity and humor, and then when you find that creativity and humor within you, you use it. That's how I see it. Now, just understand, this is how I see it. This is how I perceive our relationships with the gods. If yours is different than mine, I would love to hear another perspective. So throw a comment down. That's cool. You know, I see the world very differently from the rest of you, and that's fine, because that's good. It makes my perspective unique to me, just like your perspective is unique to you. We will never see it exactly how everyone else sees it. And that's the point. That is the point. That is the freedom of our faith, right? We each perceive our faith differently. We practice it differently. Now, that's where Christianity, to me, gets it wrong, because they are trying to force so many people into a singular mindset. But that comes, to me, that comes from having a singular God. They don't have multiple, they have one. That's what separates us. They focus on a singular God. We have to try as best we can to divide our attention among all of them. And there are many. I mean, Bragi and Forseti, Njord, Skathi, Loki, Thor, Odin, Frigg, Freya, Freyr. I mean, there's tons, and we have to try and, direct ourselves around them and focus on all of them. And that's very difficult to do. That's very hard to do. But it's important to do. I guess the point I'm trying to make is that it's okay to focus on a particular God among others. There's nothing wrong with that. From my perspective, there's nothing wrong with that. There will be a lot of resistance from certain people within the heathen community, and those are the Puritans. Those are the ones who think that if you're not practicing their way, you're wrong. Well, by thinking that makes them wrong. Yet again, it's an opinion. But I see nothing wrong with individual practice, perceiving our faith differently. I mean, as much as I offer to Odin, I offer to the Norn as well, because fate is such a valuable part of my life. I feel like everything I do is fated. It's fated to happen. Now, there are small exceptions, but the grand scheme of my life is laid out for me, and what's gonna happen, the big moments, are just gonna happen. I can't change it, and even if I could, I'm not sure I wanted to. There's so much to our faith, and you could see your belief one way today, and then tomorrow you learn something that changes, like it twists your whole perspective, and now you're perceiving it differently. It's like the term Viking. People have romanticized that word, and I partially blame the show Vikings for that, but they have taken that word and romanticized it, made it a fairy tale word, because it is now associated with what people think Vikings were. And I'm sure you all know the term, and you all have your own ideas of it. To me, a Viking is nothing more than a dead culture. And I know that's harsh, but to me it's true. And the reason for that is because Vikings don't exist anymore. Viking was a term given to the Northmen because they were vile. They were raiders and pillagers and rapists. They killed without remorse. They took women. They took slaves. They murdered people for their possessions. I don't aspire to be a Viking. I aspire to be a heathen. Someone who practices the Norse pagan faith, but lives in the modern world. Someone who honors the gods and their ancestors, but doesn't expect to ever raid or pillage. Now, I'm sure, whether it be in the comments or in a message, I will get shit for that. Like, I don't dress in traditional garb. I wear my Mjolnir, and I wear it proudly. I have my faith tattooed into my skin. But I do that for myself, not for everyone else's benefit. I'm not a big fan of violence. I'm just not. I don't like violence. I've been the recipient of a violent act. I don't like it. I don't want to wish it on anyone else. So, I'm not going to pretend, It's like, if you want to call yourself a Viking, call yourself a Viking. I don't care. I'm not wearing my hoodie today, so I can't, fun fact, I don't care. Because in all reality, fun fact, I don't care. You call yourself what you want to be called. You treat yourself as you want to be treated. No one can take that away from you. I'm not going to try. I see things my way. You see things yours. Perfect. Because I see things very, very differently. And let's be frank here. I'm a sick bastard. So that's just how it is. Now, before I go any further on a rant, I'm going to end it. So, thank you for watching. Like, throw a comment down. Tell me how you see the world. Subscribe. Hit that notification bell. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.